It's February and the Champions League is right around the corner. It's that time of the year when the big teams are really put to the test and some smaller teams really surprise and knock the favorites out of their pedestal. There have been many different winners throughout the years, some more known and others more obscure. Today, I'll be ranking the best teams in Champions League history. Of course, the main criteria will be the number of times the team has won the competition, but the number of matches played and win percentages will also come into play. So, without further ado, here are the top 10 most successful Champions League teams of all time. Number 10, Benfica. To a young viewer, Benfica are usually one of the teams that often qualifies to the Champions League but gets eliminated in the early stages of the competition. I mean, they're not wrong, since the last time Benfica made it to the final or the semi-final was 33 years ago. But the Portuguese club was a powerhouse in the 60s, led by Eusébio, Coluna and José Augusto, just to name a few. During that decade, they reached the final 5 times, more than any other team, surpassing Real Madrid and Milan, who reached 3 finals each. Benfica were the first Portuguese side to reach a final of the European Cup, the first to win it, and the only one to this day to win a trophy in consecutive years. With 42 participations in the Champions League, only Real Madrid has played more seasons in the competition. Number 9, Juventus. Despite having underperformed in Europe in the last couple of years, Juve has been a serious contender in the competition for a long time. La Vecchia Signora has participated in the Champions League 36 times, the 5th most out of all the teams, and made it all the way to the final 9 times, winning it twice, in 1985 and in 1996. Juve has gifted us many talented players over the years that flourish in this amazing competition, like Del Piero, Buffon, Platini, and many others. Number 8, Inter. From one Italian team to another, it's arguable if Juve shouldn't be ahead of Inter since they've been in the Champions League more times than them. But 3 Champions League wins in 6 finals, 2 of them consecutively, and another in 2010 that was part of a historic Italian treble, slightly edges them over Juve for me. Inter are serial winners, especially in the 2000s, where they also completely dominated their domestic competitions as well, partially with Mourinho at the helm and with the assistance of quality players like Zanetti, Cambiaso, Materazzi and many others. Number 7, Manchester United. Though not the most successful English club in European competitions, Man United were the first English team to win the European Cup in 1968 and then went on to add 2 more trophies in 1999, perhaps the greatest Champions League final of all time, when Man United turned the game in stoppage time, and in 2008 in Moscow in a penalty shootout against Chelsea. Man United, in my opinion, owe a great part of their international success to 2 managers, Sir Matt Busby and Sir Alex Ferguson. Those managers elevated the club and both had their own golden generations, the Busby Babes and the Ferguson fledglings, whose impact will live on in the history of the sport forever. Number 6, Ajax. When I think about Ajax, immediately one man comes to my mind, Johan Cruyff. And spoiler alert, it won't be the last time you'll hear his name on this list. He won 3 out of the 5 European Cups that the club conquered, and alongside Rinus Michels, changed the whole football paradigm with the creation of total football, but that is worth another video altogether. Despite a short return to European glory in the 90s, where they won the 1994 and 1995 Champions League, it was short-lived and the following decade was terrible for the club. Ajax haven't reached the heights that they did earlier in their history, but since the past decade, the club seems to be making a comeback and continues to be one of the best talent-producing academies in the world. Number 5, Barcelona. Similarly to Ajax, Barcelona are also a talent-bringing machine who have been influenced heavily by Johan Cruyff and his philosophy of total football. Cruyff was the head coach when they won the club's first ever Champions League in 1992 and influenced indirectly the other 4 conquests, as both Rijkaard, Guardiola and Luis Enrique were influenced by his tactics and style of play. Barcelona won 5 Champions League trophies, the same as Ajax, but in my opinion, they're slightly above the Dutch Giants due to their overall consistency and winning mindset, as they're the 3rd best team regarding the most matches won. Number 4, Liverpool. The most successful English team in Europe, Liverpool were actually banned for 6 years from all European competitions after an incident at the 1985 European Cup final. Despite that, the Reds won a whopping 6 Champions League titles in their history. Their most successful period was in the late 70s and early 80s, where they conquered 4 European Cups, mostly due to the help of Bob Paisley, their manager at the time, and one of the most important figures in English football. Liverpool had their ups and downs in their history and realistically could be heading to another bad period, but their victories and absolute domination while on top guarantees them the number 4 spot. Number 3, Bayern Munich. By far the best German team of all time, and always a club that I dread to face in the Champions League knockout. And before you ask, no, I'm not revealing which club I support, but I can tell you it's not in this list. Anyways, Bayern epitomize German football. They're organized, cold, and attacking. They push you against the ropes and keep you there for as long as they can. They've been a consistent force in European football since its inception, but have lived their best periods in the 70s, where they won 3 out of their 6 UCLs. But also since the 2010s, where they consistently put on dominating performances and almost always reach the latter stages of the competition. Great names have passed through the Bayern ranks, but the first that come to my mind are Franz Beckenbauer, Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, Robert Lewandowski, and Arjen Robben. Number 2, AC Milan. 7 Champions League wins. Different styles of play, different generations of players, but one common goal: to always win. Milan haven't been considered an elite European club that can actually win the Champions League for about 15 years. However, 15 years can't erase an history of almost 60 years always on top, either winning or coming close to it. AC Milan have gifted us many great Ballon d'Or winners and managers in almost every era of football, including Kaká, Van Basten, Shevchenko, Ancelotti, Nerio Rocco, and Arrigo Sacchi, just to name a few. Before we get to number 1, here are some honorable mentions. Number 1. Real Madrid. I mean, who else could it be? Like them or not, nobody really comes close to Real Madrid's level. AC Milan is second place with 7 titles, Real has double that number, 14 titles in almost 70 years playing at the highest level in the Champions League. Real was the winner of the inaugural edition of the tournament, the current holders of the title, and remains the only club to win the trophy 5 times in a row. It also holds the distinction of being the only club to defend their title in the Champions League era, as well as to win it 3 times in a row. They also top the list of most appearances, most matches played, most matches won, and obviously the most titles won. In fact, I was actually considering making a list about the top 10 best Champions League players of all time, but it would be too boring, as that list would have way too many Real players. CR7, Di Stefano, Raul, Bale, just out of the top of my head. Thank you for reaching the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, as it really motivates me to keep this channel growing and make it reach as most football fans as possible. Stick around and watch this video up next. You might enjoy it. I'll see you there.